recording of all school board candidates and everyone else for that matter will be done by one of the candidates and will appear on YouTube on Thursday. Speakers for the county issues will be given 3 minutes to share their information, after which time there will be a 5-minute question and answer period after each of them. Audience participants having a question should raise their hand and wait till a microphone is brought over. Questions will be limited to 1 minute each, should be in the form of a question, and comments kept to a minimum. Answers should be brief and to the point. If questions or answers draw out or become off topic, our timekeeper, Lauren Alterman, will indicate your time is up by holding up a sign. Let's begin. Our first speaker will address issue 1, a levy renewal for the Medina County Home. Greg Brown has been the Medina County Home Superintendent since February 2020. He is a 20-year Army retiree who has lived in Medina since 2004. Greg and his wife Tess, of 33 years, have 4 children. Please welcome Greg Brown.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak about the Medina County Home and the property tax levy that's coming on this November 2nd ballot. Originally, all 88 counties in Ohio had an infirmary. In 1913, county commissioners in each county took over ownership and management of the then called infirmaries. In 1919, the Ohio State Board of Charities worked with the local and state representatives to drop the word infirmary. These buildings then became what are known today as your county homes. The intent of that name change was to put that public spin to a positive side for the public charity buildings. Currently, there are only 8 county homes in Ohio that operate in the same manner as the Medina County Home. The Medina County Home is a safety net. It is a residential living facility for men and women over 18 who may need minimal assistance with daily activities, may not be able to care for themselves, do not require nursing home care, and may not meet the criteria for other residential facilities. There has not been an increase to the property millage, tax millage for the Medina County Home since 64% of the voters approved the levy in 2002, almost 20 years now. The property tax levy provides for 70% of the home's operating budget. It's currently, the rate is $5.14 per 100,000 of property value. The funds raised from the levy fill the gap between what the residents can pay and the cost of running the home to include capital improvements. The collection of this levy will expire in 2022 and will no longer sustain the home. Therefore, that's why I'm in front of you today asking for voters in Medina County to renew with an increase their funding of this humanitarian effort. The Medina County Home has been meeting the needs of Medina County residents since 1854 and is the only facility of its kind in Medina County offering these services. Adult daycare services, short-term respite care, are also offered to provide relief to caregivers. Residents of the Medina County Home enjoy many services, medication management, nutritious meals, full laundry, lots of activities. They also work to tasks that they're able to in the home to keep our expenses low. So, to continue the existing programs and provide for needs of the residents, on the November 2nd ballot, voters are being asked to renew the 0.2 mil and an increase of 0.075, the property tax levy. The cost will be $7.77 per year for the owner of a single-family owned occupied home, 65 pennies a month to keep operations going. For 1 pizza a year, you can support the Medina County Home. I'm here to ask you for your support. Please vote yes for the Medina County Home. Thank you.
We'll now start a 5-minute question and answer period. And Greg, you need to step to it.
Okay.
Please wait for a microphone.
How many people, residents, are in the Medina County Home?
excellent question. We're currently at 40. During the main COVID, we were down to as low as 38. I've been up to 42, but due to changeovers, I'm at 40 right now.
What's the capacity?
What's that?
Maximum capacity?
Maximum is 50.
Okay. And where is it located?
6144 Wedgwood Road, Lafayette, and on Lafayette Road or 162 in Medina.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nice and easy. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Krista Wasowski, will talk on issue 2, a levy renewal for the Medina County Health Department. Krista is the Medina County Health Commissioner in this position for 9 years. Krista and her husband Rich are Brunswick natives. Please welcome Krista Wasowski.
Thank you for allowing me a few moments to speak tonight at your forum here in Hinckley. I would like to tell you a little bit about the health levy. We are on the ballot in November. It's a 0.7 mil renewal with a 0.15 increase. The total millage then would be 0.85 that we're asking voters to consider this fall. That for a $100,000 home valuation, that would be $14.70 per year. It's a small amount, but it is something that's very critical to the operation of the health department. Our mission is to prevent disease and assure a healthy living throughout our county. We look to promote well-being and prolong life, and we do that through over 50 different programs at the health department. We have nurses, sanitarians, dietitians, medical and dental professionals, social workers, data specialists, all people who have been professionally trained in public health and working with folks in our community to promote those things that are part of our mission. So we do that with all of the programs that we have. I have a handout in the back if people are interested in that. We do a lot of work with the levy funds that we have. We do newborn home visits and car seat checks, and we do programs for young families. We have a medical and dental clinic that we offer at the health department. You're probably familiar with a lot of the inspections and the programs that we do in our environmental health program. You may not be as familiar with things like mosquito control and West Nile virus and rabies control, those types of programs. We also do a lot of work in coalitions. We started the opiate task force in the county, work on the suicide coalition, the anti-human trafficking coalition. A lot of the drug overdose prevention work that we do is related to Project On. Those are things, we get state funding for some of the programs, but the staff time we spend, that comes out of local levy money. Things that we do in promotion of health within our county. We are not a state agency. I think because we're also not a county agency. We have a wonderful relationship with our county commissioners, but we are an independent agency established by the state back in the 1920s to operate independently within our county in support of health. We get, even though the state established us, we get less than 1% of our budget from the state. This levy that we're asking for support on actually represents 31% of the operating budget of the health department. It's critical to the ongoing operation of our agency, and I appreciate your consideration this fall in support of the health levy. Thank you.
Do you control and inspect septics? Septic installations?
Yes, we do, yes. For septic installations, those are done by registered installers, so we'll register the installer, working with the state. That's one of those programs that we do as an arm of the state. Our inspectors will work then to make sure that it's properly installed for a homeowner, that it's put in as the proper system, and it's put in the right way for the ongoing operation of your home for years to come.
Any other questions? is Jim Burns, who is currently serving as trustee-elect and is seeking a second term. Jim and his wife of 28 years, Wendy, have lived in Hinckley since 1995 and have 3 children. Jim has a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from The Ohio State University and has an executive MBA summa cum laude from Baldwin Wallace University. Jim worked for Goodyear, Hubble, Ohio Brass, MTD, and has been self-employed since 2002 as a manufacturer's representative to several U.S.-based manufacturers. Jim has volunteered in his community for 22 years at the Strongsville Senior Center, 10 years with the American Cancer Society Relay for Life, 27 years as an assistant scoutmaster and high adventure adult leader for BSA Troop 226. Please welcome Jim Burns.
Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Nice to see so many familiar faces and some new ones as well. I want to thank the Women's Club and our Savior Lutheran Church for putting on this event and being such gracious hosts. As you heard, I'm Jim Burns. I'm the current chairman of the board of trustees here in town, and I'm seeking re-election and humbly request your vote of confidence in the upcoming election. I will be short tonight, so I can spend more time answering your questions in this program, and you can get more information about me and ask me questions on my website, www.citizensforjimburns.com. There's business cards over there with that on there. If you wish to see what I'm about, I blog often on that website, and you can send me an email. 4 years ago, I stood before you and spoke as I'm speaking today, and I told you why I ran for office. Those reasons haven't changed. My reasons have actually grown and expanded. It's the nature of the job of being a trustee. I'm still interested in finding cost savings. We have invested in the right people and the right equipment in all of our departments to efficiently complete the jobs we face. They are many and they are complex. These actions have created cost savings. I'm still very focused on our road repair and preservation projects. Our single biggest capital investment is our roads. We must never lose focus of this fact. I have not for a moment. We built a talented road crew, service crew, to ensure that we get the most bang for our buck. And I think you're seeing the results in our township as we continue to expand the quality of work that we get on our township roads and culverts and ditches. Together, your trustees have completed the township's business at hand and have forged on to tackle new business in very trying times. Our Vice Chairman, Melissa Augustine. I've come to respect Melissa. She has a great work ethic and dives headlong into a myriad of very complex issues. Thank you, Melissa. And Trustee Chris Kalina, his knowledge of zoning and his experience in township government has been profoundly helpful to Melissa and I as we navigated the impact of the death of my mentor and the proverbial big brother. Excuse me. Trustee Ray Schulte. I'm grateful to have both of these, Chris and Melissa, by my side, conducting the business of the township. In closing, miles of roads have been resurfaced, repaired, and replaced. Our fire department is staffed around the clock. Our buildings are restored and being renovated. A new project started just yesterday with the trustees approving bid opportunity. Many grants have been awarded. I've spearheaded the virtual meeting room installation, and soon a competing fiber optic internet service provider will be available to our township residents at their homes. The Rocky Riverbank erosion near Valier has been remediated and at no cost to the citizens. 78 acres of land are currently under review for donation to permanent conservation, donated to the township or a private entity. And our trout will soon be swimming in cleaner and cooler waters. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Thank you, and I hope to have your support at the polls. Please vote for Jim Burns, and you can find out more about me on my website. Thank you very much.
Our second candidate for Hinckley Trustee is Denise Clack. Denise and her husband Kevin established their home in Hinckley in 2016, where they currently reside with their son, Colin, who recently joined the Army as an Apache helicopter mechanic and with their many pets. In 2017, Denise and another resident started a community group to help neighbors connect, to give a voice, and be informative regarding community issues. The group is called Hinckley, Ohio Discuss It. Denise has operated as a national sales representative for several large title companies in the Cleveland area over the last 20 years. Denise has served the residential and commercial real estate business in a variety of titles and in a number of platforms, including aligning with the Cleveland Home Title as the Associate Vice President, opening their first office in Medina, then moving to Brunswick in 2020. She has served as a title officer for the state of Ohio, as a notary public, on a national sales platform, chaired for the board of CABR, chaired for the Community Outreach Committee, served as VP for the Pillars of Commerce BNI, served on the advisory board of North Coast YPN, served as the co-founder of Networking Power Hours, and served as affiliate on the board of directors for the Akron-Cleveland Association of Realtors. She is currently a member of the Medina Board of Realtors on RPAC and is the current chair for the affiliate and legislative committees and was recently accepted into the Signature Leadership Medina County program. Please welcome Denise Clack.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone here this evening. I want to thank the Hinckley Women's Club for having us here and putting on this fantastic event. So my name is Denise Clack. I'm running for Hinckley Trustee with a little over 20 years in the national and local real estate industry. I am a state of Ohio licensed title officer. I am also involved in leadership and development roles in the Akron, Cleveland, and Medina Board of Realtors, including being elected as the director, as stated, as the affiliate of the Cleveland Board of Realtors Board of Directors. I have thorough knowledge of the real estate process, of the laws, zoning, proper transfer of properties, and those are just to name a few. I support the trustee's decision to audit the comprehensive plan, and I would use my expertise to facilitate and process, including the zoning codes, and adhering to our 2 acre minimum. I take home and business ownership and responsible development very seriously. My vision for our township is to keep Hinckley as small town as possible, to help our current businesses thrive, and to bring new small businesses in. Having lengthy conversations with several business owners in town, one of the top requests would be to have county water available to them. This would not just benefit the town center businesses, but it would be an immense help to our safety forces as well. Our fire tanker is going on 30 years and at almost end of life. These trucks on average, depending on the range that they hold, cost up to $500,000 and it escalates to over millions of dollars. In the long run, a large investment in our township, water, can save us down the road. As the mother of a U.S. soldier, the wife of a Cleveland EMS sergeant, I know what dedication and sacrifice mean. It is my turn to step up for my community and bring new energy, ideas, strength, knowledge, and my main priority is to listen to what the residents of Hinckley have to say. These are just some of my reasons I am running for trustee. My name is Denise Clack, and I'm running for Hinckley Trustee. Thank you.
Our third candidate for Hinckley Trustee is Monique Marzullo. Monique is a 36-year resident of Hinckley. She and her husband are Highland School graduates. Her son Michael is also a Hornet in the 4th grade. Monique received her bachelor's degree in marketing and sales management from the University of Akron and has worked as a sales manager at R.J. Reynolds for 15 years. She and her husband Jim own the 93-year-old stained glass studio in the center of town. Monique is a very active member of our community, teaching Sunday school and coaching baseball and soccer. Monique volunteers every year at Buzzer Day and Shop with the Cop program and is an active member of the Hinckley Women's Club. Please welcome Monique Marzullo.
My name is Monique Marzullo. I've lived in Hinckley for 35 years, almost my entire life. My husband Jim and I are both Highland graduates, and one day our son will be too. Hinckley is a big part of who we are. I love so much about this small town, including its charming character. But I think our secret's out. Lately, it seems like everyone wants to move to Hinckley. I believe that we can continue the growth in a responsible manner that honors the 2 Acre Minimum. I'm a very involved member within the community because I believe in giving back. My husband and I own the 93-year-old stained glass studio in the center of town. We've been based in Hinckley for the last 55 years. I am an active member in the Hinckley Women's Club. I've coached soccer, baseball, and taught PSR, all within our community. I volunteer every year for Hinckley's Cops, Kids, and Claws event and our beloved Buzzer Day festivities. I've also been regularly attending trustee and zoning meetings for the last 2+ years to ensure that I am well informed on township issues. I've spent the last 19 years in sales management with a degree from the University of Akron in marketing. During my successful sales career, I have developed strong negotiating and follow-up skills, as well as being an excellent communicator. I believe these skills will be necessary to be a successful representative for the people of Hinckley. We need trustworthy representation. It is the responsibility of any elected official to represent the thoughts and opinions of the voters, not their own. As humans, we tend to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals. This allows us to believe that everybody agrees with us. As a representative, this is a dangerous practice. If elected, I will continue to reach out to new residents to ask for their feedback and ensure that they are aware of current issues within the township. In short, I will not stop campaigning after the election, as most candidates do. We need transparency. Residents should not have to search for information that will impact their everyday life. It is the responsibility of the township to provide that information in more than print media. It's unfortunate the town hall has decided to avoid social media in a digital age as a secondary form of communication. I have established a Facebook page that you can follow, where I release new videos about township issues and my stance on them weekly. This is the best free way I can think of to help create transparency and accountability. I encourage you to find my Facebook page, Monique Marzullo for trustee, for additional information about me. Thank you for taking the time to come out this evening and learn more about the candidates.
Our fourth candidate speaker for Hinckley Trustee is Jack Swedick. Jack Swedick has lived in Hinckley for 32 years with his wife Colleen. Their son Jay was born and raised in Hinckley. Jay is currently a math teacher in the Columbus area. Jack spent 38 years working for the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, retiring as the airport operations manager. Jack enjoys working his yard, working on automobiles, and spending time with family and friends. And Jack and his wife like to travel and enjoy going to movies together. Please welcome Jack Swedick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jack Swedek. First, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event for the invitation to speak here tonight to talk to you. As she said before, my wife Colleen and I have been fortunate to have lived in Hinckley Township for the last 32 years. And our son, who was born and raised here, went to the University of Dayton, and he's now a high school math teacher down in the Columbus area and prospering down there. The first significant point I'd like to make tonight is that I believe Hinckley Township is the best town anywhere. I don't think you're going to find a nicer town than this. My family and I are so incredibly blessed to live in this beautiful community, but more importantly, to live among all the wonderful people who live here. And for that, we're going to be forever grateful. I'm retired now, but I'd like to tell you a little bit about my past experience. I spent my nearly 4-decade-long career working for the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport in the Airport Operations Office. I was the Airport Operations Manager there. My position involved ensuring the safe and efficient day-to-day operations of the airport. I was the liaison for the Federal Aviation Administration, the airport's police and fire departments, the maintenance sections, and all the airlines. When dealing with construction projects, I coordinated with the Airport Engineering Office, all the contractors, and the FAA. For maintenance activities such as snow and ice control on the airfield and in the public areas, for airfield and public roadway paving, and for facilities maintenance, I coordinated with the responsible departments to ensure the safe and efficient conduct of those activities, working to minimize the impact of the users of the airport. I was also responsible for the administration of a $2 million budget for my office, including preparing and managing that budget and the preparation of contracts for use by my office. When you look at it, the airport is basically a small city with many of the same issues and challenges that face a community such as a township. I believe that my experience has more than prepared me for the position of trustee, where my primary focus will be to make sure that I am assisting with providing the safest and most fiscally responsible administration of the township, addressing the concerns of all of the residents in Hinckley. If the citizens should choose to elect me as their trustee, I promise you this: I will always listen, I will always be honest, and I will always be dedicated to keeping our community the best township that each and every one of you deserve. My name is Jack Swedick. I'd be honored to have your vote on November 2nd. Thank you all very much.
We're now going to begin a 20-minute question and answer period. And please remember to raise your hand and wait for the microphone. All trustees are going to be able to have the opportunity to answer the question. And I think we had a microphone up here somewhere, and I don't see it now. Dave, is there another microphone back there? It's probably going to be easier for me to pass it back and forth to you rather than you get up and down. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Okay, twice I heard 2 acre lot minimum. I had no idea that was in danger, if it is in danger. And the second part of the question is, there's a proposal drive to make 5 acres the minimum. I'd like to know the feelings on that. Thank you.
Most important thing for a township with regards to zoning is to be consistent in enforcing their zoning rules. Let me share some incredible numbers with you. 20 years ago, the population in Hinckley was 6,800. In Brunswick Hills, it was 5,600, and in Montville, it was 5,400. 20 years later, today, 20 years, Brunswick Hills population is 11,200 people. Double. Montville, 13,100 people, more than double. In Hinckley, we had incremental growth to 8,165 people. That's the smallest of these 3 communities. 20 years ago, we were the largest. 20 years later, we're the smallest of those 3. This reflects the great job that Hinckley did stabilizing our population with our strong and consistent zoning regulations. Modifying those zoning regulations could lead to legal actions and others deciding our zoning rules. If that happens, these numbers would be very different. Hinckley did a great job. Thank you.
Anyone else want to answer?
As trustee, we've been conversing about this topic for many months now with our residents. I'd say that we've listened to our residents, we've heard our residents, and we've responded to our residents. Comprehensive plan is being reviewed. We've taken counsel with our prosecutor, our legal counsel, and taken their advice into consideration about what we can and can't do. In the end, Hinckley is a very special place. It's our brand, this brand of rural nature. We can only control growth within the regulations of our zoning regulations. Those regulations cannot be changed willy-nilly. They have to be controlled by the Ohio Revised Code, and there has to be a reason for the change. As such, 2 acre minimums are still the rule of law in our township, and if you wish to build on a larger plot of land, you can. The most recent developments, Pine Hills, Pine Valley now, is on lots larger than 2 acres, and it's a standard 2 acre subdivision. Actually, it's a 3/4 acre subdivision. Many of those lots are much larger than 3/4 acres, so I stand corrected. So it's up to the developer to work within our zoning regulations, and it's up to our zoning Board of Zoning Appeals and our zoning commission to enforce those regulations.
I brought up the 2 acre minimums because a huge issue that has been going on in the township for the last couple of years are the emergence of the land conservation developments. The most recent, right up the street, Skyland. I am opposed to the land conservation developments. When you see homes that are built right on top of the main thoroughfare, you're seeing smaller lots instead of the 2 acre lots. So that is why I brought up the 2 acre minimums. I believe that with water, then comes sewer. Once you have water and sewer, if you have a 100 acre property, they now qualify to become a land conservation development. Those are the 2 things that they need. 100 acres, water, and sewer. So that's something that I would like to see, if not eliminated. There's not that many parcels at this point that are 100 acre lots in the township, but there is one right down the street. It's 85 acres, I believe. If the school sells that property and they're able to combine the property and then another homeowner sells their property, that could be another land conservation development.
What is the land conservation? Explain that concept.
The land conservation development, the way it was presented to the township many years ago, is it would be 100 acres, and you could have the smaller lots, like half-acre lots, would be available within that 100, but the average is still 2 acres. It was supposed to be that the conserved land in that would be around the perimeter of the development, so you wouldn't see all those homes on the smaller lots from a main thoroughfare. That's not what we're seeing happening in Hinckley. What we're seeing happening in Hinckley is the preserved land is at the back of the development, so you don't even know that it's there.
Next question. Please raise your hand and a microphone will be brought over to you.
I don't want to misstate anybody's position, but as I understood, Ms. Clack's position was that she was in favor of having county water throughout the township. And I would like to know what the other 3 trustee candidates think about that.
As a business owner in town, I absolutely see the appeal with wanting to have water through town. As a resident, I believe that that would come as a detriment to the township. Once you have the water running through, it would be very simple to tie in the sewer. And as I just explained with the land conservation developments, once you have water and sewer, if you have the 100 acres, you qualify for a land conservation development. So while I see the appeal to it, I absolutely do, I feel that the risk outweighs the benefit.
Regarding water and sewer coming into Hinckley Township, we have a topography and a geology that makes it very difficult to run a deep sewer line pretty much anywhere. The Skyland Golf Course, the Trails of Redwood Falls, actually had to put in pumps to pump the sewage uphill to get it back to West 130th. That is a very expensive and limiting factor. I doubt very much in your lifetime or my lifetime we will see sewer water coming through this town, let alone downtown. Water, on the other hand, is a utility that we should not deprive anybody of. If you have a bad well, you'd love to have city water, county water, whatever water source you can get that's reliable, clean, and safe to drink. We don't want big government, but we don't want to restrict people that live here from having some utility that maybe I take advantage of, and maybe we shouldn't. So as far as water and sewer goes, we will be very limited to where we can put it. It's going to be on the perimeter of our development, our current development, Boston Road and West 130th.
Actually, to my point in regards to the water, I was just saying about water into the center of town. I talked to many business owners that are right there that it would benefit them to their business if we had water, not sewer. I know sewer is a completely, and to Jim's point, the topography of our township cannot handle that. It would be way too expensive. But I do feel that the center of town would benefit the businesses and would benefit our safety forces in the center, right down Ridge Road. We can bring it from Mattingly, and we can bring it in from Granger. So it would be expensive. I'm not gonna deny that, but it's something that we should look into.
I'd just like to add that I believe Jim is correct, that it's a costly venture to take on. At the end of the day, it's up to the citizens of this community to decide. Most of the folks who came out here moved out here to get away from government oversight. So for us to make a decision to allow something like that to happen, that would have to be done with the consent of the entire community.
Thank you. I have water on my crystal work, but it's City of Cleveland, so can you explain the difference between county and City of Cleveland water?
Parts of our township have been connected to Cleveland City Water, and frankly, where I live, it used to be Cleveland City Water until about 6-7 years ago. We got flipped into Medina County's water source. The pipelines were such that they found it to be more beneficial, more efficient, more cost savings for them probably to flip some of the county over. So really, it depends on where the source of the water is, where the pipelines are, where the geology allows them to run these pipelines through the ground. That dictates where we're getting water from.
You have a question in the back?
Yeah, a lot of conversation has been going around about the need or desire to keep Hinckley rural. And it seems like most of the discussion is focused solely on the lot size, whether it's a 2 acre or a 3/4 acre in a conservation area. So I'd like to hear the trustees' views on what makes Hinckley rural, to keep it rural, other than the lot size a house is put on.
So we have, it's not just about the lot sizes, it's about the community in itself. Everyone enjoys the 2 acres plus that they have. There's no big box stores in Hinckley. We don't want big box stores. Individuals that I talk to, residents that I've spoke with, they don't want the big Home Depots. They don't want to turn into Brunswick. They don't want to turn into Strongsville. They want to keep Hinckley small town. That's what we are, right? Small town, big hearts. So in regards to keep Hinckley, the rural aspect of it, it's just not bringing in the stuff that is outside of what our township is right now, in my opinion.
The rural aspect, I don't know that Hinckley's been that rural for a long time. When you think rural, you're talking about farmland, open space. We don't really have a lot of that here. What we do have is this 2 acre minimum that's guarded by the zoning rules and regulations. That's what I alluded to earlier, is that they are very strong in Hinckley, and they're doing a fantastic job of controlling the population growth. And with that, I don't know that 5 acres gets you where you want to be. I don't know that that's a driving factor in that event. So as long as we, keep watch on the zoning rules and regulations, and those don't get out of hand, I think you're in pretty good shape.
I think a big part of what keeps Hinckley rural is the larger lot sizes. People have space to spread out, It's not, a place where we have an overpowering government, where we have a lot of regulations of things we can and cannot do. We have wells, we have septic, so those are all things that I think make us unique. That's why, to my point, so many people wanna come out to Hinckley. They like the wider open spaces.
Well, Mr. Sabor, to answer your question, one gorilla in the room is the Hinckley Reservation of the Cleveland Metro Parks at 2,800 acres and a 800-acre lake. We have a massive park system in our community, which we are blessed to have. That's the core of our Hinckley rural. Landowners, you're allowed to develop your land within the regulations of our zoning code. We can't stop that. We can try to control when we have the opportunity within our zoning regulations to assist a developer that's coming in to develop a larger parcel, to develop maybe to the benefit of the township. That's a mutual agreement. That's a give and take. That's a negotiation. And we do that. Mr. Klein is in the back of the room. I believe that's him. He does that very well. I'm blessed to have him on our team because of his experience in that manner. So as far as keeping Hinckley rural, large open fields, cornfields, they're farther and fewer between. Regrettably, 30, 40 years from now, I don't think Hinckley's going to look like it does today. And there's not much we can do about it. The land is owned by the people that own it. They have the right to develop it as they see fit. Regrettably.
How are we doing on time? Okay, do we have any other questions? We have one in the back.
Right next to you. Hi, wanted to ask a question, kind of our experience with the township government. There's been a lack of civic involvement. So the comprehensive plan, I think they said there was like 6% response rate. The Kimball contract that got pushed through, and a lot of people seem to find out about it in the last minute. Even recently, the review of the comprehensive plan, there's a committee that's going to be staffed with people that volunteered before the committee was even announced. What would you do to promote civic involvement and make sure that we've been engaged with all of the citizens of Hinckley before making a decision that kind of seems to represent what the trustees want as opposed to what the citizens wanted?
That's a great question. And I'm gonna tell you, back in 2017, when the development was being put on Route 303, resident and I decided that we need to give Hinckley a voice. No one knew what was going on unless you showed up at these meetings. So we started Hinckley, Ohio Discuss It. We are over 1,300 residents. It is a constant communication of what's happening in Hinckley, when we have the meetings, how you can get involved, and what our community is. So that's one of the ways that I started communicating with the county, the community, to find out what exactly residents wanted. It gives you a voice. So being a voice and being a movement in this township will keep us all on the same page and let us know what's going on.
That's a big issue. It's probably one of my biggest issues. The foundation of my campaign is communication. I spoke about it a little bit in my speech. Print media is not enough. Facebook is not enough. I didn't mention specifically Facebook. It is social media. We're in a digital age. If you do follow my Facebook page, you'll see I actually just released a video 2 weeks ago talking about some different ways that the township can communicate information. Advertising even in the Hinckley Record, well, that is print media. That's going to jump out at you a little bit more. The meeting this week, they did discuss that there is going to be a 2-page insert, I believe, Melissa? 2-page insert in the Hinckley Record. I mean, I kind of like to think that maybe I inspired that with my last video, but that is going to be in the new Hinckley Record, so it's something that I feel that they are recognizing. There's opportunity. We just need to move a little bit quicker with these issues.
Ms. Westworth, I believe you addressed several items. Let's talk about the Kimball trash contract that was pushed through in a rushed manner. That was on the docket for the Board of Trustees for months and months and months, discussed often and frequently, and before it was moved through, we had public hearings. There's plenty of ample notice to the public that we were moving towards a Kimball trash contract, single hauler, and Kimball actually ended up. The residents should be happy, most of them. Regrettably, as a leader, sometimes we have to make difficult decisions, and this one was a tough one, and we talked about it a lot. Myself, Rick Schulte, and Becky Lesko spent a lot of this time discussing in public forum the issues with this. The contract was moved forward. The residents are putting back into their pockets on average in excess of $150,000 a year. Not going back to the township, it's going back into the pockets of cost savings. At least $150,000 each and every year for the 5-year contract. That's a lot of money. And so I made a tough decision as a leader of this town to do what was best, not just for me, but for my children's children, because now we have recycling. And a lot of people are taking advantage of that. Thousands of pounds of garbage are now going to a recycling center instead of the landfill. The comprehensive plan, Ms. Asherle's already spoken to it. Last night at the trustee meeting, we decided to put out a 2-page flyer, and the Hinckley record will show up in this next record. It's a questionnaire. It's an application. We're looking for people to join the committee. The questions are to help us pick a diverse population, plurality of the community for this committee. We're looking for 12 to 15 people. I'm sure we'll get many more applicants than that, and we will use those questions to pare that down to 12 to 15 people. As far as the township website goes, you want current factual information, and you don't want to have to worry about whether it's factual, go to our township website. It's updated frequently, often, and it carries the important stuff that you're looking for. Thank you very much.
We'll take you got a couple minutes yet? Okay.
I just add briefly that, I agree with Jim and Melissa. There is a lot of information on the township website. But one of the other things that I don't think is considered is trustees cannot meet outside of a public meeting, except for there's a few separate issues that they can do it for, and those are covered by the Ohio Revised Code. They're called the sunshine laws. So anything that they discuss, they mostly do at a township meeting. So what I would like to do is get those meetings recorded so that folks that can't attend them can view them at their leisure, kind of like what we're doing with Zoom, where you can watch from home. I think that's something that if you saw something going on, you could go in there beforehand. I have been to some meetings. I've been to a lot of meetings, but I have been to some meetings where I was the only attendee. So, that's the other thing. You need to get involved.
Okay, we have time for just one more quick question. Anyone? Okay, we have,
I just have a question for Mr. Swagg. My name is Monique Marzullo, and I had a questionnaire that I left in,
So I had a questionnaire that I left in each of the candidates' mailboxes, and I did not hear from you. And I'm just wondering if there's a reason why.
I did not see that.
You didn't get it in your mailbox?
No, I know that the postal carrier on our route, sometimes if you just left it in there,
Yeah.
instead of mailing it, sometimes he pulls stuff out because it's illegal to use the mailbox.
Okay. Wouldn't that have gotten returned to me, or?
Now, without a stamp.
Okay. Well,
I did not see that, I apologize.
I will resubmit, I'll get it to you somehow.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay, we're gonna do some musical chairs here for our next, speakers. So I ask that the trustees and if additional people do not want to sit in this room, is on the board of directors and is the past chairman of the Pet Food Institute in Washington, D.C. He is also on the board of directors for the AI Root Company. Bob serves on the advisory board for Pleasant Valley Construction, as well as the advisory board of Huntington Bank. Bob has served on the Highland Board of Education for 24 years. Please welcome Bob Kelly.
You are living in a school community with an absolutely exceptional school system. I'm running for the Board of Education again because I want to be sure we continue on this path of excellence. My business experience over the years, and especially my 24 years on the Highland Board, have prepared me to continue to be a valuable asset to our community. I've heard it said recently that only people with kids in schools should be allowed to run for board. If re-elected, I will continue to represent everyone living in our community. Our schools belong to our entire community, not just a select group. One of the questions that I've been asked to comment on is, do I believe that critical race theory should be a part of our curriculum? My answer is absolutely no. I do believe that all American history should be taught accurately in order to avoid repeating past mistakes. But there is no place at Highland for indoctrination or political agendas. I simply want all of our children to be valued. That's it. Next question, are there any changes and or additions that I think need to be made in the Highland School District? I think right now, the most important thing that we need is that there should be no changes. I think right now the most important thing is what not to change. Highland's exceptional academic success doesn't just happen. I believe we have one of the top academically focused school superintendents in the state. Her leadership has transformed Highland since she's been here. As a result, we have recently been ranked by the Ohio Department of Education 26th out of 612 school districts in Ohio. This high ranking, but yet our operational spending per student is about $2,000 below the state average spent per student each year. We must not let the focus of our district change. I'm somewhat worried that changes in our board right now will divide rather than bring together. With all the uncertainty going on around in the world, we don't need uncertainty at Highland. I've never said this before in any election, but I think it's important. I encourage you to keep the current board intact going forward. In closing, it's been an honor to serve you in these past 24 years. If re-elected, I promise to continue to strive for sound decisions in finance, health and wellness, and school safety, while always continuing our pursuit for high-level academic excellence. Thank you.
Our second candidate for the Highland School Board is Shawn Marie Papura. Shawn and her husband Mike and their two children, Lillian in 7th grade and Allison in 5th grade, have been residents in Hinckley for 11 years, where their children participate in numerous athletics and clubs. Their family works with canine rescue groups as a foster family. Shawn has served on the Hinckley PTO, served as a room mom, and served and co-chaired the PTO's Santa Workshop. Shawn is an advisor for the Hinckley Community Ski Club. Shawn was a member of the Brecksville Broadview Heights Preschool Mothers Club and served as their president for their 75th year. After being graduated from high school, Shawn joined the U.S. Navy. Shawn worked as a hospital corpsman, leading her into nursing. Shawn graduated from York College of Pennsylvania with a bachelor's in nursing and has been a nurse for 22 years. Shawn has done a lot in nursing, including working in emergency medicine, intensive care, and with MedFlight. She has a master's as a family nurse practitioner and completed a postmaster program in adult gerontology acute care from Ursuline College. Sean holds dual board certifications with ANCC. She is awaiting final credentials with the Cleveland Clinic to join the Emergency Service Institute as a staff nurse practitioner in the Transition to Practice program. Please welcome Sean Marie Papura.
Hi everyone. Hello, Highland Local School District constituents. My name is Sean Marie Papura, and I'm running for a seat on our school board. I was asked why I wanted to run for this position, and to make it succinct, I am doing it for my children, I'm doing it for your children, and I am running to show parent representation in this board. Some here will argue that this is not necessary, but I disagree. Far too often we have the them versus us governing. This is where the ones issuing policies, guidelines, and suggestions do not have any close contact with the aftermath of their decisions. Having children in the district means that I have firsthand knowledge of those effects of board decisions. Every move has the potential to directly impact my family and those close around me. Do I believe in critical race theory or CRT? I do not believe that teaching CRT is in the best interest of our children. My interpretation of this politically developed terminology is that it sets an individual in a negative mindset. I believe that no one is a victim, and there is opportunity as far as the eye can see. If you teach someone that they are a victim their entire life, they will never grow to their full potential. I do not believe it has a place in our school system at all in any grade. I myself am a lifelong learner and came from high school educated parents living in inner city, attending city schools. Our school was incredibly diverse and was full of challenges, and had we had CRT, I shudder at what negative outcomes it could have produced. What changes would I make to the school district? I believe that there is always room for improvement. There are many topics that are hot buttons, but I will focus on one, which is communication with the community. In the spring of 2021, just 6 months ago, there was a special election where a levy passed by a huge margin. Prior to the election day, I received daily flyers and information in both of my children's book bags, as well as blasts daily from the school district via email and Facebook. However, my neighbor, with no children in the district, had no idea that there was a special election, let alone a levy. Our superb school district is imperative not only to our children, but to the community as a whole. Therefore, the community as a whole has the right to be informed about financial decisions made by the district. These decisions impact their expenditures and their property values. We need to do better with educating everyone in the district, not just the parents. There are so many avenues of affordable advertising that could have been used, and as an elected board member, I would be the voice for the entire Highland community. If you want to find more about me and my campaign, I urge you to go to Sean Papura for Highland on Facebook.
Our third candidate for Highland School Board is Missy Shriner. Missy and her husband and their 2 daughters are alumni from Highland Schools. They currently live in Wadsworth. Missy earned her degree in Business Administration from Bryant and Stratton College. She currently works as a buyer assistant for Signet Jewelers in Akron. Missy is an active member of our community, making many leadership contributions. She continues to serve as a volunteer for the school district. Some examples include the Highland Girl Scouts and the Pride of Highland Marching Band. Missy previously volunteered in the parent-teacher organizations and multiple school organizations. Please welcome Missy Shriner.
Hello, Hinckley Women's Club and community members, thank you for having me here. My name is Missy Shriner. I'm honored to be running for one of the 3 available seats on the Highland School Board. My husband Greg and I, both graduates of Highland Local Schools, and our daughters are 2nd generation to attend Highland. Our oldest, Abigail, graduated in 2017, and our youngest, Madeline, just graduated in 2021. I want to continue to serve Highland because I love being part of our growing community, and I have a strong desire to contribute to the good of our school. I'm proud to be an active volunteer. I've been a consistent leader in our community and within our school system. Having experienced this district as a student, as active alumni, and now as a committed parent and volunteer, I understand the strengths of Highland, but I also know that there is opportunity to see more growth. I have held various leadership positions since my oldest daughter entered kindergarten. I have been a coordinator for multiple committees at Sharon Elementary, the middle school, and the high school. I was also the middle school PTO president from 2014 to 2016. I am a current member of the Pride of Highland Marching Band and serve as a treasurer, a role I've held for 3 years. The most important function of the school board is to maintain and continue trust from the community, acting on integrity and professionalism in all processes through transparency. I believe the school board has done a good job with the complicated matter of its COVID response. However, I'm running to give a fresh voice to frustrated parents. Parents should be able to make decisions for their children and find alternatives if necessary. Decisions should not be based on fear, but facts. I want to be consistent with clear communication across all schools, using discretion, utilizing expert resources. I would encourage more community members to attend the board meetings to understand the decisions being made. My goal is to continue to serve and grow. The common thread throughout my years of work in the district is collaboration with administrators, teachers, students, and other volunteer leaders. I work hard with intention when our young people are involved. It's the job of the school board to help manage revenue and prioritize expenses while being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. The board will need to address the 5-year forecast, which projects a budget deficit. I would be interested to explore other cost-saving concepts before asking the community for a new levy. It's also the job of the school board to listen to community members, engage in dialogue, and be an effective communicator. My experience in the Highland School District and in my professional life have provided me with these skills, and I would be honored to use them as a Highland School Board member. If elected, I will work to support all students, staff, and the community. I'm excited to answer your questions tonight, and I appreciate your consideration.
Our fourth candidate for Highland School Board is Diane Thomas. Diane has served on the Highland School Board since 2010 and currently serves as Vice President. She has represented Highland Schools on the Northeast Regional Executive Committee of the Ohio School Board Association since 2013 and as a delegate to the annual OSBA conference since 2018. Diane has served as the BOE representative on the executive board of the Highland Foundation for Educational Excellence from 2010 to 2017, and the team hiring the executive director in 2011. Diane's duties varied, including some tasks that helped to reduce foundation expenses. Diane has been an active participant on the Highland Community Support Network since 2003, collecting and delivering donations since 2010. Diane has volunteered for and coordinated on the PTOs of Sharon Elementary and Highland Middle School, as well as assisting the Highland Athletic Boosters. Diane volunteers at her church, holding leadership positions for years, as well as sharing mission outreach with struggling Highland community members. Diane has a background in human resources and labor relations, with a degree from the Ohio State University and the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Diane and her husband Mark and their 2 Barkers, Nugget and Ellie, reside in Granger Township. Diane's 2 children are both Highland School graduates. Please welcome Diane Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for having us here today. It was very kind of you to set this up. You're going to probably hear some repeats of that, so I apologize for that up front. I am Diane Thomas, and I'm asking you to re-elect me to the Highland Schools Board of Education for 3 reasons. 1, I'm experienced. As you heard, I've lived in the Highland District since 1999, and prior to my present 11 years of board service, I was an active volunteer and leader with the PTO, and I continue to serve the community in my church today. And I also have the business degrees that was mentioned earlier. and I am prudent. Under the leadership and direction of the current board, the Highlands School District has never been stronger, academically, athletically, and in our fine and performing arts program. This is not by accident and not by chance. It is through deliberate, thoughtful planning and unwavering commitment of your present Board of Education to providing the highest quality programs and services to our students. Our district has consistently received an A rating from the state of Ohio, and you've heard the other statistics, currently ranks 26 overall in the state. Highland High School ranks 10 of 123 high schools in the Cleveland metro area and number 34 of 872 high schools in Ohio. With the board's oversight, the district has consistently demonstrated strong fiscal responsibility and transparency, allowing us to receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting and the Ohio Auditor of State Award with distinction for our financial accounting practices, all while maintaining one of the lowest costs per pupil in the region and well below the state average. And I want this to continue. The third thing is I am dedicated to my school district and my community. You heard about my PTO volunteer coordinator position at Schreiner Elementary. I think I saw Connie Marzullo come in here. She can back me up. There are 750 students there. It was crazy. It was a zoo. There were hundreds of volunteers, and I took on that position and later expanded to include the middle school. Almost 12 years ago, through the Highland Community Support Network, I began delivering donated food monthly to Highland homes, and I continue today. I've served on several committees. I've worked with members of the community teachers and staff. I've worked on the district safety committee and the community facility review committee, resulting in the building of our gorgeous new elementary schools and renovations at the middle school, which I'm inviting you on Saturday to come to the open houses 9 to 12 at all 3 elementary schools. They are outstanding. And thank you to the community for supporting us in that. And I served as the school board representative on the Board of Trustees of the Highlands Foundation for 7 years, and I have represented Highland at the state level. Let me be clear, the school board is not just another PTO committee. To be effective, school board members must take macro view and their understanding of the many issues affecting nearly 3,400 students, almost 400 district employees, and the entire community they serve, not just their own families or partisan interests. But what I would like to see is a path back towards stability and respect and away from the current political agenda of the day. As a board, it's important we collectively represent all families and all voices. I ask you for your help to make this a reality. Please re-elect me to the Highland Board of Education. Thank you.
Our final candidate for Highland School Board is Chris Wolning. Chris grew up in Hinckley and attended Highland schools. Chris and his wife of 21 years, Michelle, have 3 boys, Noah 14, Tristan 7, and Finn 2. Chris has an undergraduate degree in computer science from Baldwin Wallace and an MBA from Walsh University. Chris works at First Energy and previously worked at 2 different engineering firms in Cleveland and Medina. Please welcome Chris Wolning.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Women's Club for having us tonight. I'm very excited to be here. I'll try not to repeat anything that everybody else has talked about. The first question that we brought up tonight was, what motivated you to run for the school board? I first ran in 2013, and part of it was having come from Hinckley, grown up in Hinckley, and I really wanted to give back to the community. Like I said in the opening, Pat, thank you. I grew up in a district in the 70s and 80s. It was wide open, that some of the trustees talked about. At that time, my oldest son, Noah, was starting kindergarten in 2013. I thought, how can I give back to the community, to the district that did so much for me? So I decided to run for the school board. And since that time, it's been an amazing 8 years. I've been part of a rewarding team that's been able to deliver a beautiful stadium, deliver 3 new buildings like some of us have talked about. It's hard to imagine, not being in our old buildings, but I think we can all understand with the way that we've talked about progress tonight, it's a good thing to move forward, to do it as a community. So it's very rewarding. And not only did we build beautiful, buildings and things of that nature, infrastructure, but educationally, I think Mr. Kelly talked about it, we've risen in the state, we've risen in the country with our rankings. So whether you look at us both from an infrastructure standpoint or an educational standpoint, we are growing each year, and it's just a testament to the entire team, not just the board, but the administration. We have wonderful leadership. My experience at First Energy has provided a lot of clarity with finances and things of that nature, spending, and understanding just general people relations. That was the first question I wanted to cover. The second question, which some of you already heard tonight, is about CRT, or critical race theory. I do not believe this should be part of our curriculum. I believe, like I've shared elsewhere in other presentations that I've given to the media, we should follow Martin Luther King Jr. It's about the content of your character, right? What do we teach our kids? You know, this shouldn't be about placing value on someone's life based upon race, ethnicity, or sexual identification. That does nothing but further divide. So treating everyone as equal and helping everyone to be the best they can be is how we need to educate. The district's job is to follow a traditional curriculum and teach that kindness that I spoke of. All other lessons should be taught at the kitchen table. The last question we were asked was, are there any changes or additions that need to be made? I believe one of our greatest assets is our parents, past and current. They go above and beyond. They help, they volunteer, and they provide some very needed behind-the-scenes help. There are times I feel there's a gap understanding how the school board works. For example, we have several community members that feel very passionate about certain topics. I'd like them to know we would always prefer to work with those groups and combine our energies to achieve a common goal. So much of what a Board of Education does is dictated by, prescribed by, the state or federal laws, and there are times that people do not understand that. That is my statement about change. My statement about addition would be to echo the plea for additional bus drivers. We have a massive territory. We're almost a taxi service, and I think it would just be great if we could find some more bus drivers to help us out with that need. If you want any more information, please visit chriswolning.com. Thank you.
Okay, and now we are going to start a question and answer period, 20-minute period, where all 5 candidates will have an opportunity to respond to each question. Please remember to raise your hand and wait for the microphone. We have a question, I believe, in the back.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Okay, we have one over here.
My question for each of you is your opinion on pay to play for football and other school activities. I know we just passed a nice levy, and I'm hoping that maybe some changes can be made in that area.
Who would like to answer?
The current levy was a renewal levy, which, thank you to the community, it was very needed. I equate it to the cost of living in all of our lives. It's something that grows each year, something